Hi, good afternoon, Olean Chamber of Commerce members. Good afternoon and welcome to the December virtual Lunch and Learn sponsored by Envision Benefits Group and Milestone Financial Advisors. I'd like to introduce Bob Forness, President and Executive Director of Olean Business Development, and he is responsible for coordinating all the amazing efforts for the Come Home, Stay Home campaign. Before I turn it over, I just want to let everybody know that there will be a Q&A session at the end of the presentation, and we are going to make this presentation available after it's concluded, and we're sending it out via our newsletter. So at that, I'm going to turn it over to Bob, and the floor is all yours. Go ahead.
Thanks, Christine. I appreciate it. Now, hi everyone. Happy holidays. Thanks for taking a little time to learn about what we've got going on with Come Home, Stay Home here at Olean Business Development. At the bottom of the pages, you're going to see kind of the joint efforts that this has been between, and I'll explain a little bit more about it. We also have a logo here at the bottom that I'll introduce you to, and then I'll give thanks to the folks that helped us create a lot of the content towards the end of the presentation. But let's get started. So we battle in Olean and kind of maybe the Rust Belt cities, what I kind of call emotional scar tissue. What does that mean? Well, as you'll see coming up on your screen, right, these various businesses, companies, that have shut down just in the last 10 to 12 years. There's more before that. So it's not usually a very happy tale, right? It's companies that have decades upon decades of history in Olean. In many cases, several hundred jobs and several hundred people have been displaced from their jobs, and storefronts become empty. And what can we do about that? And in years past, maybe there wasn't a lot we could do about it. But right now, we're kind of in a different place in the Olean and surrounding areas with businesses coming in at a similar rate to the ones that are leaving, which is a good thing, because there are some options maybe for some of those folks that are displaced and for other folks. So it's real, right? What do we hear from people from the scar tissue talking? I kind of say, there's nothing for you to do. Stay here. Get out of here while you can. I'd love to move home, maybe if I lived outside of the area, but there aren't any jobs there for me to move back to. It's impossible to recruit people here from out of the area. I heard that at the hospital. I've heard that in my previous career at Dresser Rand. I've heard that in several other places. In many cases, we need to find two jobs for couples that might want to relocate here. Maybe the primary job might be as a doctor or of some other place at the hospital, or maybe a professor at St. Bonaventure or JCC, but they have a significant other that has a job that they want to not lose. So what's available for them? How do we change the narrative from what's very inherently negative and for understandable reasons, the scar tissue is real, to what we can do to maybe flip the script a little bit. So we've developed a campaign at Olean Business Development, partnering with JCC Workforce Development and the Cattaraugus-Allegany Workforce Development Board, called Come Home, Stay Home. We tried to make it the logo look like the rolling hills, the enchanted mountains. There's factory, there's school, there's hospital looks with people involved. So it's a little different than maybe some other logos, but we wanted to have something relatively unique. And by the way, we did use AI to generate this. This got us about 95% there, but we still had to do a few touch-ups to make it whole. But it was interesting. That was my first endeavor with artificial intelligence, helping me shorten the cycle for some work to be done. So what prompted this kind of campaign? So this article from the Olean Times-Herald was written between Christmas and New Year's in 2022. And it just did a quick synopsis and highlight of the different Cattaraugus County Industrial Development Authority in projects that they were responsible or participated in during 2022, and that resulted in aid of about 147 million. But that number is not what I want to focus on. What I wanted to focus on was, as I went through, there were 18 projects that they supported in 2022. 14 of those 18 projects had jobs associated with them. And that's typically something that is needed for an IDA type of project to take hold. So I started adding up some numbers, and the numbers are pretty impressive. And what tends to happen is you'll get the next what I'll call the big bang articles in the newspaper, right? So the joint venture firm is buying Siemens with 250 jobs. Olean steel manufacturer plans to move to the suburbs. Steelbound Brewery in Ellicottville is going to open up a campus. Ellicottville Greens and Olean. So all of these things kind of happen with what I call the big bang approach of the newspaper getting a press release. They run the press release, and then we kind of go, well, now what? Like, how is it going at that joint venture firm that's that bought the Siemens site and plans to hire 250 people? Here we are, right? That was on September 7th of 2022. Here we are in December of 24. Where are they at? So I started kind of getting curious, started poking around, started asking questions. And I said, there's more to this. The numbers start to add up pretty significantly. Let's figure out a way to tell people about it. So we created the Come Home, Stay Home campaign. So I'm going to show you a couple videos today, so it's not just me speaking, but the goal of the videos that Danny Bush Visuals and Anna Michelle Communications helped us produce are to introduce people or reintroduce people to Olean. Adam and Christine and the folks at the Chamber of Commerce are obviously involved in this as well in terms of spreading the word. But why is it okay to live in Olean? Why is it cool to live in Olean? And then what types of jobs and what types of companies need workers and need employees? So I'm going to jump to a quick video right now. This is the launch video, the trailer video for the Come Home, Stay Home campaign. So I'm going to go ahead and start that now.
We've heard it all before. We know what people say about Olean, New York, and rural communities like it. But guess what? Things are changing. In fact, a renaissance is here. Roughly 1,500 jobs are expected over the next 5 years. And with those jobs comes growth and reinvention of a region and a city that deserves it. A hero's tale reminding us that this community is about to reach its truest potential. Olean's Renaissance. Come home, stay home.
So kind of a cool, what I always jokingly and affectionately call the Chamber of Commerce video, right? One of a couple that we've been able to create with the help of Danny and Anna. Again, as I said, it's a collaboration with OBDC, the JCC Workforce Development team of Kathleen Martell, and then the Cattaraugus-Allegany Workforce Development Board led by Jason Miller, to try to consolidate all of this information. Where did that 1,500 job number come from? I'll get to that in a little bit. But it's unprecedented demand, really, since the end of World War II, to have this many jobs coming in, knowing that there were a bunch of jobs that left the area, but to have this many coming in the next 2 to 3 years is not been heard of since the end of World War II. So what we're trying to do is create a consolidated view of the job demand across the region, and enable us to communicate it to several target audiences. So these audiences are the local high school and career and technical education students, so the BOCE students, letting them know that there are ample jobs available if they want to stay here. There's plenty for them to do, and they're good paying jobs. They're not just minimum wage service jobs. They're career jobs. They're jobs in a factory setting, in the back offices, in logistics and shipping, in several local manufacturers, but also in healthcare, in education, and several other aspects of our community. We're working with JCC, St. Bonaventure, Alfred State, Alfred U, Houghton, Pitt Bradford to talk through these opportunities with their placement offices and their career centers, so that they understand that if they have students that would like to stay local, there's plenty for them to do here. Adults that are looking for, or in parentheses, requiring, based on something that might have happened at a place like Bimbo Bakeries, a career change or an alternative skill set development that could launch them into a new career and potentially another discipline. And then more importantly, the come home piece of this is the previous area residents that are looking to move back home. So I did this 20 years ago. I grew up in Allegheny, went to college. Right out of college, I moved to Phoenix, Arizona, and worked out there for 16 years. My wife and I decided we wanted to move home. My wife went to St. Bonaventure, and we came home. We raised our family here rather than in a bigger city because we were more comfortable in a smaller place. And we never looked back and never have regretted for 1 second, that we did it. And our daughters are thriving, we think, because of them being able to be brought up in this type of an environment in a smaller area. So how do we reach out to those folks that used to live here that might have that feel every time they come to visit? Boy, I wish I could move back. There's lots of stories like that are to be told. And then, as you saw the first video, we have a video series that were created with Danny and Anna and deployed across our website and social media campaigns. And it's a combination of the area, an overview of the area, as well as very specific business videos. And I'll show another one of those here in a little bit, so that the businesses can kind of show people what they do and how they work, and then what types of jobs they have available right now that they need to fill. So that's kind of the campaign and where it came from. It came from the kind of overview from the IDA and all the projects that they had supported, and then really dedicated efforts between Kathleen, Jason, and myself to go and do the research and try to understand, what's really available. So those 1,500 jobs, right? Everybody's like, man, that's a lot. But on the screen, you're seeing some of the numbers along with some of the businesses and how many that they've committed that they will be hiring. We're not holding their feet to the fire in the Come Home, Stay Home campaign. We're just consolidating the data and consolidating the information. So in the next 3 to 5 years, places like Chimilai, Great Lakes Cheese, Pierce Steel, and so on are looking to add 800 to 900 jobs. So that's what I call organic growth. Again, you can net it off with what's left, and I understand that might be a math exercise that many people might do in the background, but these businesses don't have that scar tissue. These businesses are starting from scratch, or they're expanding and they're not leaving. And 60% of the 1,500 jobs are new jobs being created. And you can see the various types of industries, right? It's heavy in manufacturing, but there's some other industries in the service world, as well as some other interesting industries like Ellicottville Greens with vertical indoor farming. So 60% of the jobs are new. They don't exist today. They need to be added. Why is we went and started having conversations with some of the other folks in the area, Chimilai, why did they buy the former Dressing and Siemens Energy factory for pennies on the dollar when they could have gone and built a new greenfield factory in South Carolina? Well, what they said is manufacturing is in the DNA of this area. They don't have to train people to understand what manufacturing is and what manufacturing means. It's because of the people. This conversation came when we met, when Jason and Kathleen and I met with the folks at Great Lakes Cheese, right? Great Lakes Cheese is moving from Cuba into their place up in Farmersville. It's $800 million plus by the end of the day. If anybody has seen that factory, it's like its own village north of Franklinville on Route 16. But their quote was, it's because of the people. They didn't go somewhere else. They wanted to stay in this area because the people are dedicated workers and they work here. The other question I had was, why would you build something $800 million worth of a state-of-the-art factory in Farmersville? And they said it's because of the cows. Somehow back in history, whatever died beneath the ground and left the fertile farmland, the cows here produce the highest yielding cheese out of the milk from the cows than anywhere in the country. And the taste is different of the cheese here than cheese you can manufacture somewhere else. So it's because of the cows too. Another thing that was just prevalent everywhere, and I experienced this in my past recruiting at some of the businesses that I worked at outside of, out in Phoenix. People here in the Northeast, people here in Western New York and the Olean area, they're not afraid to work. So it's not like we're trying to teach people work ethic. That's already kind of ingrained in this area, kind of with that DNA of manufacturing as well. And it's a great place to live and do business. It's in New York State, so all the negative press you get about New York and why would anybody want to do business here? Well, all of these companies have said they did business here when they had options to do it in other places because they think it's a great place to do business, and they set up camp here and they're hiring people. So what about the other 40%? What are those jobs? Those jobs are coming from what I would call replacements. So the retiring workforce, the aging workforce we have around here. We're not unique to anybody else. It's a ratio that's just from the baby boomers, right? That back to that World War II analogy, right? The baby boomers that came about during that time frame in the late 40s and early 50s are now at retirement age, and there's a large quantity of workers that are reaching that retirement age. So how do we have to continue to replace those workers as well? And what types of jobs are those? The Kinley facility over in Wellsville, Cutco's not expanding, but Cutco's going to need 100 people over the next 3 to 5 years due to retirements. Same with Olean General Hospital. The school systems, Cattaraugus County and Allegheny County have 22 school systems between them, not counting BOCES. When you add BOCES in, there's over 300 jobs in the teaching and education world that are going to come open due to retirements in the next 3 to 5 years. Local, county, and state law enforcement has needs. They have up to 50 jobs that they need filled. So you add all those together, and that's a significant number as well, right? I mean, just the numbers on the screen, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's about 700 out of those 1,500 jobs. So 40 to 45% are for replacing workers. Those aren't service jobs. Those are jobs, professionals in the manufacturing ranks, in the back offices, the folks that are teaching our kids and our grandkids. They need to be replaced. And we need to have those jobs front and center for people to know that they're coming available. So Come Home, Stay Home talks about the job requirements of larger businesses and maybe school systems and education, but I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that OBDC continues to focus on small business creation, small business development, because the 1,500 plus new employees that are going to be needed and are needed in the next 3 to 5 years need places to shop, places to eat, places to be entertained. So where do we come in? So OBDC sponsors and is very active in our day job, I call it, which is helping in partnering with folks with all aspects of economic development. The Lane Business Accelerator, we're in 2024 now, we're up to 30 businesses from 130 applicants. 130 business owners have applied for the accelerator to participate. That's 130 entrepreneurs in the Olean area, which is a phenomenal number for a place with 14,000 people in the city and 71,000 people in the county. And we've been able to give them seed money to help them continue their growth and their acceleration of their new business. And this is a little bit old. I didn't change the word. We're actually tonight showcasing the 5 businesses that were selected from the 2024 cohort. So we're excited about that business accelerator program. The hatch is a gap in that we filled with true startups. So the accelerator takes folks that have had their businesses running for a little while and helps them learn more about running a business so that they can accelerate their growth and add jobs and add to the economy. The hatch has been launched at JCC here in Olean, and it's really supporting the pure startups, people that have ideas or people that are just getting started. They're running programming. They're working on funding possibilities to help people purely in the startup phase. So we're starting to fill gaps in the ecosystem, the entrepreneurial ecosystem, and there's more gaps to fill. We're not done yet, and there's more activity happening as we speak as part of OBDC and in the ecosystem partners continuing to support small business owners. So we're not giving up on that. The Come Home, Stay Home campaign is kind of a pivot point for us to support some of the larger job growth needs, but our focus area will remain, the ecosystem and supporting, new business and economic development activity, in Olean. So I'm going to jump to another video, which is a little more about the community culture. So this is one that we did again in conjunction with Danny and Anna Bolshevitz. So interesting just to get a feel for, for Olean. For most people know about all of that's in this video, but if not, here we go.
Within Cattaraugus County, Olean is a place we call home. And here at home, our lifestyle is one of the best kept secrets. It's a walkable city center designed for exploration, connection, and inclusive community. Only steps away, one of the most treasured parks in the state of New York. It's farm-to-table nourishment presented with soul and a smile. It's all seasons, action-packed winter days, a summertime retreat, fall wonderland, and a spring awakening. It's where rhythm and art awaken the soul, igniting inspiration. It's the cultural fusion of flavors and exchange of great conversation at restaurants, both established and new. It's that cold, crisp, end-of-day cheers with friends at your locally owned brewery. The crack of a bat on a warm summer night under an umbrella of fireworks. A 120-year tradition of folks filling the stands, rallying behind the brown and white. A place where improving yourself, no matter your passion, is possible. When it's time for a scenic ride to the big city, catch a show at Shea's, or root for the home team. See, we told you there's a lot happening here, and with growth comes opportunity. Olean's Renaissance. Come home, stay home.
So again, just a little bit of why is it cool to live here, right? I mean, it's not for everybody. We understand that. And, some of the young folks need to go out and explore and need to find out whether they want to be somewhere else. But for the folks that have grown up here and may want to move back, or for the folks that have grown up here and don't want to leave, there's plenty to do outside of a work environment. And that video was just a little bit of a way to try to highlight some of those possibilities. So I'm going to do just a couple of quick focus company overviews for folks, just to kind of educate again. These are folks that we partnered with. We went and had sit-down discussions. Would they be interested in us, doing some type of a video and then press release, kind of a series about what they're up to? So these are some of the folks that said yes. It's not all of who we worked with, but that was kind of the process. We would go have one-on-one discussions. We talk about the types of jobs, when they would be needing them in terms of timing of adding those folks to their workforce, and any other interesting aspects of their business. And then we did videos on site. We were able to do videos and interviews with the owners or the CEOs of the respective companies, or the plant managers if they were a part of our larger organization. And these are facts. This is data. It's not just what we extracted out of the newspaper. These were sitting down and having discussions and drawing up on whiteboards and ideating what could work for a video. So Pierce Steel, owned by Mike DeRose, who's and his family. It's been around for 130 years. They've got increased demand for their products, and they needed to move into a bigger place. So this is another one of those, tough story, good story scenarios, right? So the tough story was the place they moved into was the building that used to be housed by Sanzo Beverage. Sanzo Beverage was a multi-generational beer distributor on Route 16 between Olean and Hinsdale. And they sold to a larger company in Buffalo, and that became a building that became available, and it did not sit vacant for long. Mike bought that, and within a year moved off of the location he had on 8th Street that was next to Mazda Mechanical, where his other brothers run, and he was able to put almost $1 million into renovations, and he's now tripled his capacity and his capabilities, and that's leading to him needing to hire 15 new employees. It's highly skilled welders, fitters, fabricators, and back office folks. So he's basically doubling his workforce, right? With those folks. I'm not going to play his individual video for the sake of time, but just to give you a flavor. So Chimolai, what is it? What is Chimolai really? Chimolai HY. The HY is Hudson Yards. So it's a joint venture with Chimolai, which is an Italian steel structural steel manufacturer, and Hudson Yards, which is based in New York City. They bought the former Siemens Energy Dresser Clark Brothers plant on Wayne Street. And 250 jobs are what they're going to need to do. The stuff they build is incredible. It's bridges, it's stadiums, it's buildings. One of the things I heard from folks was that once they were going to come in here, do the Bills Stadium, and then they would leave. Well, that's not happening. They bought the facility for a little under $8 million. They had that choice to buy this existing 1 million square feet of prime manufacturing space, that used to be Dresser-Rand and used to be, and I worked there, by the way, so I understand some of the scar tissue. Or they could build a $90 million facility from scratch down in South Carolina. Even though you would think, why wouldn't you do that, right? It's cheaper down there. There's not as many union challenges in South Carolina. Well, they chose to do it here because of some of the facts that I stated earlier, manufacturing being in the DNA, people not being afraid to work. So they bought it for a little under $8 million, and they've put $60 million worth of equipment renovations inside the factory, converting it from an oil and gas heavy equipment manufacturing space to a structural steel design and manufacturing location. It's their first factory in the United States. They've already hired, this is a little bit aged, they're at 100 employees now, and they need to get to another 100 in the next 12 to 18 months, and then they'll eventually fill out the other 50. They have line of sight on some other space that they're going to need within their own location. They haven't fully built it out yet. They could see themselves getting to needing 400 people over time, depending on the success of their business. And oh, by the way, they did get the second deck of the new Bill Stadium. They never thought they'd have time to do it, but they became qualified, and they actually the steel girders and the support system in the second deck of the new Bill Stadium is coming right here in Olean. So it's a pretty cool business, pretty sophisticated business. And again, the jobs that are being recruited for there are anything, they're starting from scratch. So they're having to put together an entire manufacturing facility from the facilities folks all the way up through to the CEO. So it's a pretty impressive endeavor that they're undergoing right now. Great Lakes Cheese, most everybody's heard about them, right? They're at $800 million plus state-of-the-art facility that's open now. They've been producing, actually working with cheese for almost a year now in terms of slicing and shredding and sending it off into the world. In the last few weeks, they've actually taken their first milk shipments in from the local farmers, and they're actually running from milk to cheese, from one end of the factory to the other, fully functional now. So they are hiring folks to double their workforce essentially from what it already is. They're very excited that a large percentage of the workers that are being displaced in Cuba, New York, are actually going to change their commutes and work in the facility up in Farmersville. So they're very excited for that. But they've already gotten 100 more people on board, and they need another 100 plus in the next 12 to 18 months. So, going from that big bang article in the newspaper of, hey, Great Lakes Cheese is going to build a new factory, to all of the conversation and discussion about the overruns and how the costs went from 500 million to 800 million, all of that is happening, right? And that's real, and you can't ignore it. But what also can't be ignored is they've already hired 100 new people, and they have another 100 that they're going to be hiring before the end of 2025. So the job growth that was stated in the original articles, in press releases, is happening. It's not just a wish, it's actually happening. So that's what's really exciting to see. Kinley Advanced Technical Services over in Wellsville. So they took another former dormant Dresser-Rand Siemens Energy facility, and they've created their own company. And it's a new company, and it's several folks that used to work at Dresser-Rand. They've already hired 20. They have to hire up to another 30. A lot of folks they're hiring are folks that were displaced in the past. Again, they're not getting a 1-for-1, folks that were laid off and folks that are going to get rehired. But seeing that facility go from dormant and largely unutilized to, thriving again with 50 employees and tens of millions of dollars of revenue, going out of products, and local folks in Wellsville being able to be employed there. So just exciting stuff everywhere. So there's other folks that we're talking to, right? More details, those one-on-one conversations with the human resources department and leadership teams at all of these facilities in the Olean area. Jason and Kathleen and myself have gone and met with them one-on-one. We've hit at least a half a dozen schools. We've talked to the universities and colleges to understand what their needs are, understand how to get them engaged in the Come Home, Stay Home campaign. So there's more to come. There's more videos to come. There will be more focus videos on businesses. And then this is kind of the wrap-up video that we're calling the community fabric. So this one's another minute or two If you'll bear with me, it's the last video I show, I promise. But kind of a neat, instead of why is it cool to live here, which was the last video we showed, as to why is it safe to live here, and why is it a good idea to live here.
Innovative leaders in Olean work hard to ensure education is a top priority in Cattaraugus County. There are 22 school districts located within Cattaraugus and Allegheny counties and 6 institutions of higher education within an hour of Olean, many with a focus on rigorous technical training for those various trades positions available right here in our region. Minutes from the city center, Allegheny Limestone, Olean City School District, Portville Central, and Hinsdale Central schools offer unique and modern learning environments. Recently completed capital projects bring unparalleled STEAM classroom spaces and athletics facilities that rival those found in nearby Buffalo and Rochester. There's real pride. Students compete and collaborate at the highest level of the arts, sciences, and athletics in the state. In addition to the traditional school district settings, there are also numerous career and technical education centers in the 2 counties managed by the team at Cattaraugus-Allegany BOCES. If you're exploring a career in education, Olean needs you. According to the numbers, more than 400 jobs will become available in the next 3 to 5 years because of the retirement cycle. We can't talk about education without mentioning its powerful impact on our healthcare system. Healthcare depends on quality employees. Olean General Hospital is a Kaleida Health facility. Kaleida Health is the largest healthcare provider in Western New York. Olean General employs more than 1,250 people in the greater Olean community. Olean General Hospital also partners with nearby universities and colleges to prepare the next generation of nurses, doctors, and support staff. The hospital is looking to hire 100 people in the next 3 years. They're searching for everyone from physicians to nurses to IT professionals to full kitchen staff members. If public service is your calling, Olean goes the distance. At Olean's full-time fire department, we're in need of determined men and women willing to serve in an emergency. EMTs, ambulance drivers, and techs, both paid and volunteered positions, are open for applicants. A piece of property and peace of mind. Rural life is something to cherish. We know the jobs are here and more jobs are coming, so consider the lifestyle in Cattaraugus County. We know the housing market has been difficult these past years, but whether you're single or planning a family, everything from a home in the country to a home on a city street in walkable Olean can be yours. To meet the demand, just recently 40 new apartments were added to the market and several other projects are underway. If you're a small business owner with big startup dreams, Olean's Lane Business Accelerator, located in the city center, is your next stop. The accelerator and its give first mentality fosters entrepreneurial spirit through programming provided by local business leaders with world-class expertise. It's a testament to the late business icon Eric Lane and homegrown companies like Cutco. The accelerator has so far supported the success of 25 local businesses with no intention of slowing down. You could be next to join. Opportunities are here for generations. Find your fit today. Reach out to the Olean Business Development Corporation. Olean's Renaissance. Come home, stay home.
So again, a pretty impressive overview, I think, of Olean in terms of what it brings as a community. There aren't a lot of places in the country that have a population of 14,000 people that has the school systems that we have, that has the continuing and career and technical education opportunities available. The universities, there's 6 within an hour of here. And the local hospital, not many folks have a community hospital the size of Olean General. So there's a lot that we have that attract people and that people look for to understand, if I were to move there, or if I were to consider coming home, is it okay? Am I going to be safe? Is my family going to be safe? And I think we can answer yes to that. And it's pretty exciting to be able to kind of highlight that. So what else can we do, right? Whoever's, listening today, whoever might see this, what else can we do, right? Do we just complain on Facebook that Olean stinks and just kind of, give up? No, we're not going to give up. Can we sit back and do nothing and just say, you know what it is, and play the victim mentality? No, I don't think we should do that. We just need to keep getting up and dusting ourselves off, right? Every time somebody talks about something closing, it's like, oh my gosh, that's sad. Well, what can we do to support that person, or what can we do differently to not have that happen again? So I think we're going to keep getting up and dusting ourselves off, and in the community, we'll do the same. So what role maybe can you play? What role am I trying to play? Tell people about the campaign. Not just, it's not about, OBDC or myself and Kathleen and Jason and what the work that we've done. It's about the content. It's about the real jobs that are available in that are coming in the next few years in what's happening in the area. Encourage and coach people that career changes are okay. Connect them to places like the workforce development at JCC if they want to try to do something different, right? The trades, we're really struggling to get enough folks in the trades. In the workforce development, folks at JCC understand that. So if somebody wants to retrain and get into something different, there's opportunities for them to get training, typically with grant capability for free. And explain, it's not starting over, it's transitioning, to something new and exciting. And then another thing that we're working on is succession planning for small businesses. How do we stop the John Ash Cleaner stories, the most recently La Dolce Vita stories? What can we do to help those folks? Maybe if they are willing to do something different, if it's possible, right? If the business model can work, what can we do to help? So, let people know it's okay if they're tired, right? If they want to retire. The good story we had is Reed's Food Barn recently, right? David Reed's been looking at trying to get out, so to speak, for several years. He went through the process and he found somebody to buy it. And it wasn't just on a whim, it was people that have experience in the grocery business. And, the south end of Olean needs a grocery store and not another Dollar General. So having the folks buy that business from the Reed family and continue it now as Olean Food Barn is the story that we want to be able to continue to tell. That there's been a transition plan executed in that a business stays in place. Encourage people to attend programming about succession planning as we continue to offer it. That's something that OBDC will be doing soon. And, look, folks can trust that the process is okay, that they're not going to get exposed, right? Their private business practices are going to stay private, but we can help them with that transition activity. So with that, I'll hang it up. The QR code there takes you to the OBDC homepage that you've seen on a couple of slides for the Come Home, Stay Home campaign. One of the other things that we have on the website is the job postings. So we've got all in one place. You can look up, what does Cutco have available right now? What does Great Lakes Cheese have? What does Chimley have? Siemens Energy. We're putting all of them in one spot, so you don't have to go hunt and peck and Google things all the time. You can go right to that find jobs link on the website and find things. So I appreciate everybody's time today, and happy to answer any questions.
So I actually have a question, Bob.
Yes.
So about the job postings on the OBD website, do you think you'll be doing any kind of joint job fair with these businesses next year? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, we've already done several.
That.
So we've had Great Lakes Cheese has had 3 different job fairs here in the hub in our building. And then Jason Miller has run 2 different job fairs, and yeah, we'll continue to run those with these businesses as well as just general anybody that we don't know about. And this is I think we're just scratching the surface. I don't think there's 3,000 jobs out there, but there might be a few hundred other ones that we just don't know about yet. That we need to uncover and be able to get folks some exposure for what's coming.
Okay. Just one more question. So when you do work with the colleges, JCC and Bonaventure, and you're explaining, they're explaining to the students, they're going to graduate, stay in this community. What about the students that have already left? Do they have any kind of follow up with those students, those graduates, to see where they're at, to send them these videos?
Well, right now it's with social media. So what we're doing is pushing as we release another video, we will send that to the respective career centers and ask them to share it on their social media pages, so that if there is somebody again that might have left the area that's kind of going, man, I'd like to get back, they can find it in multiple ways. They can find it on our website, in social media. They can find it on the more popular ones in Olean, State and Union and some others. And then also the university and college connections in their social media. So that's how we've been doing it so far, is through social media campaigns. We have some visions of doing a larger job fair. I think a lot of people have probably either themselves, I can remember doing it a long time ago, or maybe with their kids or grandkids going to the college night at St. Bonaventure, where there'd be 50 universities or schools that you could go table to table and learn about what they do. We've talked about doing that size and that scale of a career fair, where we could bring people in from all the school systems and the BOCES systems, as well as anybody else that might be interested, to kind of have an in-person opportunity as well. So that's something we're planning for 25.
Excellent. I'm just going to check and see if we have any. We don't have any questions right now. Oh,
Okay.
wait, here's one. Go ahead. Can you see that, Bob?
I can. Oh, yeah, here we go. Yeah, there is definitely no. So the question is, how can businesses join the Come Home, Stay Home and campaign, have their jobs listed on the site? There's no limit on the number of jobs. We will greatly or gladly just take whatever the link is that gets people directly to their jobs page. That's the one that we're trying to get to, and we're happy to take that. What we tend to do, and I might be able to share it right now just to show folks what it looks like. I never actually went out onto the website, so let me do that right now, and see if I can get it to launch quick. So this is the actual Come Home, Stay Home page on OBDC. So the videos and the associated press releases that we're doing, in conjunction with the videos, but this Find Jobs button, right? So this is what we've done so far. These are the folks that we've gotten their data, right? Siemens Energy just came on. Chris Scott, who I know well from my time there, he said, "Hey, can we get our jobs postings listed here?" So if you click on this, it'll take you straight to Siemens Energy's Olean, New York job posting. So they have 12 people that they need in Olean for Siemens Energy. So and that's what we can do. Again, there's no minimum job requirement to get videos done or to get another level. That's a different conversation that I'm happy to have with folks. But to get onto the jobs listing, just get a hold of me at OBDC, and we can accommodate that very quickly, same day probably.
Okay, anyone else have any questions? All right, I don't see any. So we are going to make this recording available via our newsletter, or you can just email us at the chamber and ask us to send it to you. We do want to thank Bob Forness for spending his lunchtime on this virtual lunch and learn. It's an amazing campaign, and we really want to see success from it with you.
Thank you.
And we do want to thank Envision Benefits Group and Milestone Financial Advisors once again for being our sponsor for the virtual lunch and learns this year. So with that, we'll say thank you again to Bob and have a good day.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Take care.